Everyone is a little nervous about what the future of AI may hold. Most people's first worry is that this technology will eventually perform their job more effectively than they can, somewhere between Skynet and a post guest at Utopia. According to one side of the debate thus far, significant new technologies in the past have only ever increased the wealth of economies, and the jobs they replace are eventually replaced by better ones elsewhere. The other viewpoint contends that, yes, replacing our muscles with machines in the past allowed us to use our minds, which are obviously where humans have focused the majority of our evolutionary features. But what more can we provide if machines take that place? Nobody, not even economists, can foresee the future, but we don't really need to because some economies will experience the effects of these changes on a large scale much sooner than most others. As a matter of fact, they already are. The threat posed by AI is far more immediate in nations like Bangladesh and the Philippines. The danger to entire sectors, jobs, and the decades long economic expansion they have created. Over the past 30 years, these economies have built entire businesses around the provision of outsourced services. Call centers, data entry, transcribing, and basic software assistance are a few examples because these positions required context, language skills, and a unique human touch that robots simply couldn't replicate. They were once thought to be secure from automation. As it happens, machines have become far more adept at simulating that human touch. These jobs, which account for a significant portion of GDP in many developing nations, appear to be in danger of becoming obsolete as tools like LLMs can now complete such duties in seconds at a fraction of the cost. According to IMF estimates, 89% of service occupations in the Philippines that are outsourced are at increased risk of being automated by AI. Over 1 million people could lose their jobs in a matter of years. To put it another way, AI is already making the wealthiest nations in the world even wealthier and making it more difficult for everyone else to catch up, and the narrative is only getting started. AI is beginning to separate the economies of wealthy nations into those that can benefit from it and others that it will eventually replace. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, positions such as customer service agents, postal workers, bank tellers, and cashiers are all expected to decline. According to one estimate, up to 47% of present roles could be replaced by AI, meaning that 7.1 million jobs could evaporate over the next 5 years. Naturally, it's also important to keep in mind that businesses and their investors have already spent trillions of dollars creating this technology in the hopes of seeing a return in the future. Even if it is callous, the quickest way to begin seeing such profits is likely to be to remove millions of workers from payroll. Therefore, there is an incentive to carry out the scare campaign since, to those who are actually writing the checks, what most people find horrific appears like an opportunity. However, the trend lines remain distinct even now. AI is already changing who advances, who lags, and most importantly, how quickly the gap widens. As always, there are several crucial questions that need to be addressed. Why is AI accelerating economic growth in wealthy nations while endangering the financial viability of others? What will happen to the other four in a world where one AI equipped individual can replace 5 people? More importantly, would workers or perhaps entire economies be able to adjust quickly enough to withstand the change? The Center for Economic Policy Research estimates that productivity increases caused by AI could boost the U.S. GDP by 5.4% over the next 10 years. With comparable estimates, South Korea, Germany, and the United Kingdom are not far behind. Lower income nations, on the other hand, anticipate far more modest improvements of between 2.7% and 3.5%, which would deviate from the notion that developing nations will develop more quickly. One excellent example is the Philippines. It has long been one of the top locations in the world for business process outsourcing, a $37 billion sector that encompasses tech support, billing, customer service, and transcribing. Over 1.3 million people are employed in the tech sector, which also accounts for more than 7% of the nation's GDP. Here is the worst case scenario for the economy. Large language models like ChatGPT are quickly learning to automate the majority of these occupations, which are precisely the kind of tech-based repetitive activities. AI has the potential to replace many jobs in the Philippines, and it is already doing so. AI solutions are currently being used by about two-thirds of the nation's outsourcing businesses to save expenses and expedite processes. Large U.S. corporations like AT&T, Google, and Accenture outsource labor to the Philippines, but those positions will be among the first to go if AI can complete the same activity more quickly, more cheaply, and without the need for human resources departments, health insurance, or vacation time. The situation in Bangladesh is comparable. Although its outsourcing industry has expanded to 400 companies with over 80,000 employees, most of that labor still involves data entry, transcription, and customer service, exactly the types of tasks AI can automate. There's no strong economic case to keep outsourcing if AI can do the same work faster and cheaper. A single server rack slot may take the place of an entire core center in Dakar or Manila, allowing businesses to relocate jobs to affluent countries where automation can compete with offshore labor. This changes the outsourcing model that emerging economies have depended on for the past 30 years. It's a key factor in the widening wealth gap between rich and poor countries, especially as AI favors the most specialized abilities. Skills that require cutting-edge tech infrastructure and advanced education found mostly in wealthier nations. Even when individuals in emerging markets gain those skills, they often leave. Global tech companies hire them or relocate them to cities like San Francisco, London, Berlin, or China. The brain drain increases, leaving fewer researchers, teachers, and startups in poorer countries, and even fewer chances to catch up in the global AI race. In short, nations best positioned to benefit from AI already control the capital, infrastructure, talent, and resources, while others struggle to withstand disruption. AI is also dividing people within those same nations. Not everyone is affected equally. Some workers become obsolete, others far more valuable. AI is a unique kind of capital. Understanding its economic impact requires knowing how it affects different types of labor. Most past technologies were complementary capital. They increased human productivity. For example, a combine harvester boosted farm worker output rather than replacing them. Labor and capital raised living standards together. Workers stayed essential, they just became more efficient. I will play that complementary role for some high skilled jobs. A financial analyst can use AI to scan reports faster. A doctor can use it for diagnostics and spend more time on patient care. In these cases, AI boosts productivity and raises the market value of skilled professionals, but AI is increasingly acting as substitutive capital, replacing humans in routine, process-driven tasks. An AI chatbot replaces customer service agents, not enhances them. A code generator replaces junior developers, not helps them. The more capable AI becomes, the less human labor it needs, and capital ownership in AI is more concentrated than ever. A few elite companies in the US and China dominate AI development. Since 2017, the US has built 135 large-scale AI systems, China 110. After that, the numbers drop steeply. These leading firms benefit from the data network effect. The more data they gather, the better their AI works, attracting more users and more data. It's a feedback loop concentrating profits and power. AI could boost global GDP by $15.7 trillion by 2030, but 70% of that may go to just the US and China. In 2024 alone, over 1,100 US-based AI startups raised major funding, more than double all of Europe combined. Meanwhile, the physical components, CPUs, GPUs, come from just 5 countries. Over 90% of AI hardware is sourced from the US, Taiwan, China, South Korea, and Japan. This is how AI as capital really works. It replaces those without assets and benefits those who already have them. Your value in the market increases if you can use AI to multiply your productivity. But for workers in everyday jobs without retraining access, the future looks grim. Similar disruptions have happened before. In the 1980s and 1990s, industrial automation and outsourcing wiped out factory jobs in Western Europe and the US. Over 7 million factory jobs vanished in America between 1980 and 2010. Cities like Detroit and Youngstown lost their core industries. Entire local economies collapsed. Unemployment rose, life expectancy dropped, and schools struggled. Even when jobs returned, they often paid less and lacked benefits. Something similar happened in the UK as steel, coal, and shipbuilding industries declined. The lesson is clear. Even if long-term prospects improve, tech innovation can devastate communities in the short term, and inequality, once entrenched, is hard to reverse. So what can we do? AI is already changing the global economy, but how nations and people respond will determine if it worsens or helps fix inequality. We already know what's coming. Low-income nations like Bangladesh and the Philippines show where AI hits hardest. In response, the Philippines launched a national AI policy aiming to retrain over 1 million people by 2028. Bangladesh released a draft framework to support tech businesses, modernize education, and develop AI talent. Whether these efforts succeed is unclear, but they offer a model for other countries. Economies must invest not only in AI infrastructure, but also in people. That includes funding computer science education and teaching skills AI struggles to automate: critical thinking, complex problem solving, clear communication, and innovation. A survey of 12 million US job listings found that AI adoption tends to increase demand for these human traits rather than eliminate jobs entirely. Connectivity matters too. Nearly 2.6 billion people globally still lack internet access. Without it, they can't join the AI economy. According to the World Bank, for every 10% increase in broadband access, GDP in developing nations could rise by 1.4%. So governments must expand internet access, reduce device costs, and equip people with digital skills. Social safety nets are also vital. They give displaced workers the time and resources to retrain and adapt. Without them, the economy falters, productivity rises, but consumption drops. Innovation continues, but inequality deepens. To share AI's benefits broadly, we must rethink how value is created and distributed, who builds AI, who owns it, and who profits from it. And if AI keeps advancing while most people are left with nothing valuable to offer, the consequences could be severe. Thanks for watching, friend. Goodbye.